The mood I'd come home to was already on edge. It's not an uncommon thing in our family. Whenever Dad can't come up with a good idea, it always ends up like this. He stomps around the house with his arms crossed. Mum whispered into my ear, "Welcome home, Keiichi. Dad, he's in a bit of a rut right now, so don't bother him, okay?" Well, what do they say when it's like, when they welcome someone back home? Okairi? I think, maybe. I don't think that's one of them anyway. You can't come up with any idea. It's because the deadlines are so close together this time. But Dad needs time to recharge or he doesn't work as well. Dad's paintings feed our entire family. If he runs out of ideas, then it's the end of the Mybaras. Watch some Bob Ross. I don't know. It's like, sometimes he'll say in his like videos, like he'll just be painting and just do a certain technique and he's like, "We aren't interested in selling paintings here. But if you are, these are the type of things that'll make it sell." We've never gone hungry before. Could it be that my dad is a master painter? Wouldn't it be easier to get an idea taking a walk outside rather than wandering around the house? The theme of the piece this time is in the household, so it seems your dad wants to use this house as a motive. That's quite a bothersome motive. Keiichi, pick up your room. It looks terrible. Wait, what? Pick up your room? Sorry, I'll clean up later. Shouldn't it be clean up your room, not pick up your... Well, I guess he means like pick up all the stuff that's scattered around your room, I guess. But saying pick up your room is like, I can't physically pick up my room though, Dad. He's like, not literally, you dumbass. Ah, come on, please don't use my room as the motive. It's like, yes, that's a good motive right there. Yes, a messy bedroom. You could use my bedroom as a motive. It's like scattered cans of Pepsi and Tango. Brilliant! It's not as bad as it always is, but I've got quite a few cans scattered here and there. Other than that, my room's, for the most part, spotless. Keiichi, there's still some time before dinner, so please go take a walk out back or something. His bad mood is only temporary. As soon as he gets an idea, his mood improves and he starts humming. Until then, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just go take a walk so I don't aggravate him further. Well, I guess I will then. You know, I don't think we get to know, like, a big amount about, like, Keiichi's parents all that much. They kind of, like, play a minor role in the plot. You know, we don't really see them, well, we see them quite a bit. The point I'm getting at is, I find it kind of neat that, like, for once in one of these type of novels, we actually, you know, get the parents in on the story. We don't see them as portraits or anything, but we actually, you know, see them interact and all that. We actually freaking, and, you know, it's also, I think of, like, how many freaking visual novels, for example, whenever they have a parent, it's just one parent, it's never both of them. In this case, we get two, we get both of them. You don't get to see that much, really, in novels like this. This is technically a sound novel rather than a visual novel, but it has that similar kind of thing going on. I said I was going to take a walk, but I didn't have any particular destination in mind. You know, from this point on, I do not know what to expect from the plot, because, as I said, I read these years ago, like, back when I was still LP and Clannad, and I don't think I've read them since, obviously. I do remember, like, really important plot points, but I don't remember the whole flow of it. I just remember, I can remember where the plot takes that significant turn, though, where things start to move into that darker direction, and it's after a certain section of the novel that we probably won't get to for a while, at the very least. Oh, I just need to kill some time. I got on my bike and pondered where to go. I could just go read at the bookstore, but it would take about an hour by bike to get to town. It would be dark by the time I got back, so I didn't want to go unless I had to. The roads at night here in Higurashi creeped me out. If Miyano or Sotokuro had found out about that. I smiled dryly. Oh yeah, Rena was probably still at the mountain of treasure, the damn construction site. The excavation of Colonel Sanders was probably taking her a while. It wouldn't be so bad to have her owe me one. I mean, look at that sentence there. The excavation of Colonel Sanders was probably taking her a while. Where else would you hear a line like that? She might return the favor next time we have club activities. Maybe, but you know, it's like every man, woman, child for themselves in those games. With a little bit of self-interest in mind, I set off towards the damn construction site. Tomitaka-san might be there as well. The only person with information about the incident that both Rena and Neon denied knowing anything about. If I met him again, I'd like to ask for more details. To ask, was there really dismemberment here in Himizawa? That was my real intention. Crossing the bridge. I spotted Rena struggling up on the slope of the garbage pile. It looked like Colonel Sanders was lodged in there pretty firmly. It didn't look like Rena would be able to excavate him by herself. Realizing that Tomitaka-san wasn't around, I began climbing up the slope unsteadily. Hey, Rena! Looks like you're working up a sweat.
Whoa, Keiichi-kun! What brings you to a place like this?
A place like this, huh? I see. She was aware of it, at least. I received a signal for emergency assistance at the accident site. Where is the injured party?
Accident?
Well, there was a report Colonel Sanders was buried alive in a trash pile.
Oh, that scared me. Don't frighten me like that, Keiichi-kun.
I was just kidding. I thought you might be struggling by yourself, so I came to help you out.
You came for me? Oh.
She always does that, doesn't she? Well, I filled my quota for today. If I don't see Rena blush at least once a day, then I'm not getting my daily required nutritional intake. Just kidding, you're embarrassing me now.
So, what part was the joke? What part was it?
I just ignored her bewilderment. Okay, now move out of the way. So, where's Colonel Sanders?
Sorry. Can you see him in that gap?
He's really buried in there. The Colonel Sanders was sideways, surrounded by boards and all construction materials, like they were caging him inside. Though I've been like thinking with this whole Colonel Sanders thing, just like, you know, when it comes to things like you can't say certain things, you know, like, for example, you can't say McDonald's or something in a novel. Well, maybe you can in some, I know. But like, if you got a brand name or anything like that, you have to like get like the rights for it probably. I'd imagine. I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. But Colonel Sanders was a person, so that it wouldn't probably count, would it? I mean, sure, he founded KFC and all that. Was he the one that found it? Well, it must have been. I don't know. It's weird when you really think about it. Like McDonald's, for example. Like, start off as just a humble burger joint by like 2 people, I think. Now it's like one of, if not the biggest, like fast food chain in the world. It's just like, what the hell, man? Anyways, the Colonel Sanders was sideways, surrounded by boards and other construction materials, like they were caging him inside. According to Rena, it wasn't like this yesterday. Seems as though another illegal dumper came yesterday, he dumped again, and now he's buried like this. What do you think of the Simpsons movie? I wonder if... No, obviously it wouldn't make sense at all, because not even in the same freaking world as this. But imagine how surreal it would be if Homer Simpson dumped stuff on it.
You're trying to move this pile all by yourself? With those scrawny arms?
Oh wait, wrong character. You're trying to move this pile all by yourself? Those scrawny arms? Of course, it would be Keiichi saying that. There's no way freaking Rena would say that about Keiichi. No way she could be able to do that with her slender arms.
But Colonel Sanders, oh cute! There's a chain on the Colonel Sanders at the store. This one though, I should be able to take this one home. Oh!
If Rena gave up on this Colonel Sanders, she'll probably start devising a plan to steal the one in front of the store. As Rena's guardian, I won't allow her to sully her hands with crime. Out of the way, I'll do it. Rena blushed again, but this time I left it alone. The pile was enormous. Also, the more days we wasted, the more likely another illegal dumping would occur. If it got buried any deeper, there would be nothing that could be done.
Keiichi-kun, I'll help too. Let me help.
You'll just get in the way, so stay back. Pulling out scraps, bending them, tossing them aside. I quickly became covered in sweat and dust. Flying objects drew beautiful arcs across the twilight sky, one after another. Lumber, timber, plywood. Damn it! No matter how much I threw out there was still more. Even though I could see Colonel Sanders right there. After grandstanding like that in front of Rena, I felt frantic because of how little I had progressed. If I was going to do this seriously, I'd need an axe or saw or something.
That's enough, Keiichi-kun. You're so sweaty. You don't have to try so hard.
I'm just doing it for you, Rena. Don't worry about it. Rena began sputtering and turning beet red. Oh, whoops. I meant to say I was trying my best so as to keep her from becoming a criminal. Oh well. I guess I just need a break. This is pretty tough. I sprawled on my back over the grassy slope, not the glassy slope.
I'm so sorry, you're covered in sweat.
Rena patted her handkerchief against my forehead. It felt pretty nice.
Well, wait here a minute, okay? My house is pretty close. I'll bring you some barley tea, okay?
Leaving the handkerchief on my forehead, Rena took off running. The cries of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. After I was certain that Rena was gone, I picked myself up and headed towards what I discovered earlier. Ah yeah, this is the bit. Told you, like, when I mentioned, like, we saw the newspaper article and the tips thing, but I'd, like, recalled him actually stumbling upon an article or something at a trash site, construction site, wherever, that, like, reveals a bit more on that. Well, it was a garbage pile of magazines and newspapers bound up in twine. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe it was around here. There it was. There were bound stacks of not-so-reputable tabloids. They were stacked chronologically going back quite a few years. It's quite a disturbing instance. It seems they haven't been able to find one of the arms, you see. If it was just as Tomitaki-san said, then undoubtedly there would be mention of the murder. These are troubled times. There is no end to these sickening incidents. There's a large part of society drawn in by those incidents as well, drawn in, I mean. So it had to be recorded, somewhere. I unfastened the packages and opened the rain-soaked pages carefully, looking over the table of contents. I think in this scene, when I'd like played it back in the day, well, read it back in the day, it had this really kind of nice, eerie piano sound effect on certain reveal moments. It's kind of cheesy, but it fits. I wonder if it's in this as well. You unfasten the packages and open the rain-soaked pages carefully, looking over the table of contents. Not here. Next one. Not here. Next one. It was hard to search since I didn't know when it happened. I didn't know who the perpetrator or the victim was either. I only knew it had happened here. I looked up every so often, checking to see if Rena had come back or not. You know, this technically takes place in the 80s, I think, the plot does. So just like things, it's like, oh, why do you use the internet? It's like, well, the internet wasn't a thing back then, and if it was in its very, very, very early stages. No one wanted to see me gawking at a dirty magazine, but it wasn't just that. Both Rena and Mion said they didn't know, but it had happened without a doubt. as long as Tomotaku-san wasn't lying. And if both Rena and Mion... Ah, yeah, that was... They had just said that, then I wouldn't have gotten so hung up on it. An incident that neither Rena nor Mion wished to talk about. Trying to uncover it after they tried to conceal it out of good intentions. That made me feel like I was acting against my friends. There it is. It's technically not piano then, is it? Well, I think it might have a bit of piano. Maybe it's a broken piano. It just has that really kind of like... Guinea-Bissau dam worker lynching, murder by dismemberment. Here it is. The featured article was in the back, and it seemed that there was a photograph in the colored pages at the front. The pages of the featured article were stuck together and weren't easy to open. Rena could return at any moment. Feeling rushed, I gave up and opened the photograph page. The police investigators were carrying a body bag, and newspaper reporters were all bathing it in camera flashes. The image was blurry and hard to understand, but I could definitely make out the headlines. A tragic nightmare at the Higurashi construction site, lynching and murder dismemberment. The victim was the site foreman. He had assaulted his Sicilians daily with an explosive backlash from his daily actions. It's a horrible image to see the site foreman as... It happened. It really did happen. And now we know who it was, because in the tips hint thing, it only it blanked out every like the date and who was the one who died and all that kind of shit. It seemed the details were on the next page. I turned the page without pausing. On it was... The Assyrians butchered the victim's body with hatchets and pickaxes and used an axe to split the cadaver into 6 pieces, the head, arms, legs, and torso. Damn. I could understand just from the headline that it was just too terrible an incident. Normally a lynching is just assault and murder, right? Dismemberment with hatchets and pickaxes. That wasn't lynching. It was a merciless killing to the letter, a brutal murder. Done by a group of people. With hatchets, with pickaxes, with an axe. Ah!
Yes, sorry. Did I startle you?
Rena dropped the axe she was holding onto the grass after being startled by my voice. How freaking terrifying must that be? You're reading this, just like, oh my god, this is just fucking, oh my god, with hatchets and axes, and then Rena just suddenly shows up with a fucking axe.
Keiichi-kun, you see, earlier, yeah, you said it would help if you had an axe, didn't you? So then I brought an axe for you from the shed.
Rena fluttered her arms in a panic, continuing to explain and apologize. It seemed I'd been glaring at her pretty intensely. I'm sorry, I guess my reaction was a bit overboard.
No, I'm sorry as well, I'm sorry.
Night was drawing close. I was pretty worn out, and it wouldn't hurt to do the rest tomorrow. Doesn't look like we can break that last beam without an axe. If you brought it after all, I'll have to borrow it tomorrow, alright?
Okay.
Why do you look so glum? Tomorrow we'll be digging out Colonel Sanders, right?
Alright, I really want to take Colonel Sanders home soon.
We both knew that it was useless to apologize any more than that. I quenched my thirst with the barley tea Rena brought and wiped off the sweat that had now gone cold. We took the path to head home. I felt quite guilty about the tabloid wrapped up in my jacket. Higurashi when they cry.
You have received new tips in Higurashi Dam Project and special tabloid report.
Oh, achievement unlock, one man's trash. Look at that. We won't see like this for a while. Just like, I don't know, I think it happens, like, I won't even say. But you're gonna see, like, what's up with that? It's probably one of their games, I think, I can't remember which. Anyways, achievements. One man's trash, help Rena find her treasure. It's kind of off to the side so you can't really see it, but that's what it says. And my laptop's going into woo mode there. Meaning that this is probably like taking up quite a bit of its power to just play the damn novel. And you can see why I don't freaking, play many PC games as a result. The Higurashi Dam project. October 1975, we finally have a date. In accordance with the Prime Minister's bulletin number blah blah blah, still some stuff that we don't know then I guess, Higurashi electrical development master plan was announced. The vast scope of the projected Higurashi Dam will have an incredibly heavy impact on the village of Higurashi. The flooded area caused by the Higurashi Dam would include the 5 areas of Higurashi, Takatsudo, Kyotsu, Matsumoto, and Yaguchi. The submerged area includes 291 houses. Population 1,251. 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, 1 post office. Well, it's technically only 1 school now, isn't there? Unless they're including it from one of the other areas. 1 agricultural cooperative, 1 forestry department lumberyard, 5 shrines, 2 temples, and 1 fishery. All of these communal, cultural, architectural, agricultural areas and places of worship will be in-depthly submerged at the bottom of the artificial lake basin. So that's why they were like, the villagers were obviously opposed to that. Thinking the hundreds of years our ancestors poured their blood and sweat into this fertile, resource-rich land is just too painful to bear. All the residents having homes that were to be submerged banded together and created the Onikakushi Defense Alliance. The project was halted and petitions to alter the plan were circulated. The citizens sought peaceful negotiations, but the government and its puppet company, blah 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 blah, openly refused. Performing unspeakably heinous acts, they quashed the democratic actions of the villagers. But the villagers did not falter. Instead, they banded together even more closely and sealed their resolve to protect their homes to the death. The continuation of that frightening Higurashi Dam construction project is still stalled as of today. The villagers understand that the stalling was caused by supplying power through unity, and they understand that this fearsome plan has not yet been fully withdrawn. Yeah, it's still it's just on hiatus, I imagine then. The Onikakushi Defense Alliance had been dissolved after it did its part, but the feelings of unity in it garnered have not yet been extinguished. As long as that passion resides in the hearts of the residents, they'll be able to confront whomever next decides to sink their homes into our lake basin. Onikakushi Defense Alliance Committee Chairman Keiichi. I don't know if we meet that guy or not. Special tabloid report. Nightmare befalls the Higurashi Dam. Lynching and murder dismemberment in month of day in prefecture at the Higurashi Dam construction work site in Shishibon City, a bone-chilling, gruesome murder dismemberment. A moment, I'm gonna look up that city. Never mind, I don't know if it's a real city or not. My internet connection's crap. But the first result was for Higurashi, so it might be a fictional city. I'm not sure if all of the locations are fictional or not. I'm pretty sure Higurashi is obviously fictional, obviously. It's just they obviously gotta have some based setting, because I think I've seen an image of a village that looks like Higurashi, and that might actually be the pictures that the guy, I'm assuming it's the guy that wrote it and must have taken all the pictures for the, novel thing. Must have taken it from, real places, and that's probably it. I don't know. Obviously not called, Higurashi though, I'd imagine. And obviously doesn't have this there, the whole story. Bone-chilling gruesome and dismemberment, even though this case has shocked the archipelago, the police will give no details on the case. Exactly what happened to the humans now down. They probably didn't mean to kill him at first, but as the victim resisted by swinging around a shovel, the rest of the perpetrators armed themselves in return, and it quickly escalated to homicide. Oh my god, I remember now! I won't spoil it, but I remember how this whole incident, like, how it all plays out. We don't learn how it all played out for quite some time. I think it's in one of the answer arcs. Which, by the way, have not even been released by Manga Game yet. They were originally released, but it seems like they've obviously like taken them off the site and just been like, okay, we're like putting in, you know, the other art style now, so we'll redo that and eventually release those and maybe have them on Steam as well, I don't know. But they're currently unavailable, even though I bought them back in the day. And that was years ago. So said the aforementioned Investigator A. After this bloody tragedy was over, they were left with a body which nobody thought was alive. XX-san had tormented the suspects daily with his rough behavior. At first it was meant to be payback. All the perpetrators were horrified by their deed, and one even turned himself in to the police. It was the de facto leader of this group, Blah, who suggested hiding the body. Reluctantly at first, they soon began to think they did not wish to be caught. The construction site had numerous places to hide the body with 6 people. They were originally supposed to hide the body and leave the area. The de facto leader feared that the conscience of the other 5 wouldn't be able to bear the burden, and came up with a horrifying method to keep them from turning him into the police. He devised the heinous methods of splitting up the body among them and making each of them responsible for hiding a piece. Yeah, that's why, like, the dismemberment happens, as messed up as it is, that's why. Well, it is messed up in general, really, isn't it? But notice, like, when he said, oh, they're still missing an arm, right? So one of them, obviously, like, still hasn't been caught. The other ones have, because how else would they only have one bit missing? They must have turned themselves in, I'd imagine. Blah had turned a simple manslaughter into a gruesome dismemberment and forcefully involved each perpetrator in order to create a sense of unity between them. Each one participated. But what does this mean? First Nay spoke out reluctantly. Blah had ordered each and every one of them to dissect a piece for themselves. They were hesitant at first, but nobody refused. In for a penny, in for a pound, was what it meant. Thus an unimaginable bloody ceremony began. The perpetrators wept and vomited as they performed the gruesome task. There was one person who stubbornly refused, but Blah threatened them, saying nothing would change if someone else ended up dead, and he gave up in his objections. Damn, man! But Blah's plan collapsed in the span of one night. Blah, who had refused to dissect the corpse up until the last moment, had broken down into tears at the hospital where he was being treated for an injury sustained during the scuffle and confessed. The criminals were arrested one after the other, but the de facto leader, Blah's whereabouts are still unknown. Also the right arm hidden by Blah has yet to be found. Despite an ongoing search, this horrible individual has so far managed to elude law enforcement. What could the police be doing? It appears that Blah had said he was going to throw the body right arm into the marsh. Blah's car was discovered abandoned near the marsh, but there were no clues to his whereabouts. I forget what exactly happened to him, and if you actually know what happens in the plot, don't spoil it or anything, obviously. Blah didn't trust his companions. One cannot deny the possibility that he had expected his companions to confess to the police and use his car as a decoy. Of course, I doubt that theory. Since he has no car, one would expect him to have a limited area to which he could have escaped to. But within the station there were rumors going around that he had accidentally slipped and drowned in the marsh when he went to throw away the body. For the locals, that marsh is believed to be bottomless. It's known as Onikakushi, the ogre's abyss. Oh yeah, Oni, by the way, doesn't actually mean demon, it means ogre. This, and it's said that the bottom of the marsh is connected to the hellish world of demons. The atrocious demon from hell that was Blah. Just like, yeah, the XX. It's just like, because we don't know his name yet. Could it be that he had returned to hell through the marsh? What?
Ziggy Dragon, bringer of luck and fortune, prosperous future, ladies leaping into your arms, business success, promotions, ambition, protection from harm, not just with pachinko and horse races, but business and even love, guaranteed all your money back. Ziggy Dragon Bracelet DX 1 piece. 2785 again, I can't freaking, I'm shit for numbers.
But what a freaking weird turn that is. It's like, oh, this is really like all somber and gruesome, and then it's like bing, 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 bang, bong, bong. Here's the advertisements. I mean, it is a tabloid after all. Continue a bit more.